Police officers above the rank of inspector will be granted the power to call off protests if they deem that the picketing poses a potential danger to lives or property should a new bill be passed into law. The bill, proposed by Mbia North Member of Parliament Geoffrey Yuku, seeks to regulate the conditions under which mass demonstrations across the country can be held. According to Yuku, the bill will also determine the extent of a police officer's mandate in a bid to ensure peaceful demonstrations. This involves ensuring there is no interference with the movement of vehicles or pedestrians and a proper distance between rival groups when conducting a meeting or demos. He stated, "The bill recognizes the right to picket, but in a democratic society, we must be disciplined. We must run a nation that is disciplined. We must put measures including what extent police go and the obligations of the organizers of the demos. You can't destroy property and we can't have a loss of life in the course of demos. Let us have peaceful demos, and for this to be achieved, we must have regulations." While listing the obligations of organizers of the protests, the bill proposes those involved be held liable for loss of lives and subsequently pay for damage to property incurred during the demos. Further, those who engage in illegal protests will be imprisoned for 1 year in a bid to regulate how demos are conducted in the country. The bill also seeks to outlaw the carrying of banners, placards, weapons and utterances that have the potential to escalate into hate speech. In addition, the legislation proposes that protesters be prohibited from adorning clothing that resembles police officers' attire.
The object and purpose of the Act. Okay? And allow me to read, that's section 3 of the bill, that the object of and the purpose of the Act is to, 1, recognize the right of peaceful assembly.
Okay.
To recognize the right of the peaceful assembly. B is to ensure, so far as it is appropriate to do so, the person may exercise the right to participate in public assemblies. And 3, to ensure that the exercise of the right to participate in public assemblies, demonstration, picketing, and presentation of petitions to the public authorities is subject only to such restriction as necessary and reasonable in a democratic society, in the interest of 1, public safety, public order, and protection of rights and freedom of other persons.
That's
very
much okay.
So this is the object of the Act of the bill, and we can't Trevor, we have a weakness in this country, that anything that is coming from the other defined of the house is completely ravished, is completely banned. We can't develop our country with such kind of a notion. This is a country where all of us, whether you're in opposition or in government, we live in this country. We have a responsibility to ensure this country is good for all of us, whether in opposition or in government. That should be, the foundation, the basics, the bare minimum. And what we are saying, we have seen demonstration in the past, how they have been conducted in a different path. The other day, I think last week, we saw demonstration in in Kericho, in a tea farm. They were very ugly demonstration, where property was completely destroyed. Is this what we want to continue? Saying that we cannot put into effect Article 37 of our Constitution?
So in that case, who would you have wanted to be held liable? Because there's also that back and forth where the organizers say that it was the people who came and infiltrated our demonstrations. Those were not our people. So how do you...
To answer the question of the person who has asked the question, is Vincent.
Yes.
If you go to section 13 of this proposed bill, you see that it talks about the powers of police during the assembly or demonstration. So it means already that the assembly or demonstration has been granted. It is constitutional to go and do demonstration. But within, when demonstration is happening, one of the responsibilities of police is to ensure there's no loss of life or property. And if there is loss of life and property, then we should hold police officers accountable. So to ensure that there's no loss of life and property, life and property, what should the police do during the demonstrations? That is exactly what Section 13 of this proposed bill talks about. How the police should be able to conduct themselves. Because the cardinal role of police is to ensure no loss of life, no loss of property, whether in demonstrations or not. So therefore, they should be given powers by law to act in a certain manner that no one will lose life and no property will be destroyed.
All right.
That is what Section 13 talks about.
All right.